Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up towards Gothenburg once again, or Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, and we're going back to Landvetter, which is of course home to Dugges Bryggeri, and this is my 4th or 5th review from these guys, but we have another collaboration brew from them today. This is one that they did with Wiper and True from Bristol in England, a company I've never reviewed anything from, but I've heard very good things about, so my very first encounter with these guys, and this one is called the Twin Pines. It's a double IPA and it comes in at 8.8%, and from what I gather it should be a more malty leaning double IPA, this one, because it said on the Wiper and True Facebook page that they wanted this beer to be like a more Swedish version of one of their amber ales, so it should be quite interesting. I do enjoy these double IPAs that lean a little bit more towards the malty side of things. It's always a good change of pace from the big hoppy beasts that tend to be dominating the market at the moment, so it should be a really nice beer. I know that Dugges produce some really quite nice things, and it is cool to have my first encounter with Wiper and True as well, so hopefully I can do some dedicated reviews to them in the fairly near future. So yeah, but anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries involved here. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward of course. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery websites, link to my other reviews I've done from Dugges Bryggeri before. There is a link down there to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from Wiper and True. Like I said, my very first encounter with these guys. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There are ones there for both my English beer reviews and my Swedish beer reviews. Those are constantly being added to, of course, so keep an eye on them, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys, so don't hesitate to get in touch through the Facebook, Twitter, Untappd, whatever you want. It really is great to hear from you guys, and the support you give the channel is hugely appreciated. And in particular, please do let me know about some of the Wiper and True beers that I should have a look at. I know they've got quite an extensive collection of things, so do let me know which ones I should be reviewing for you on the channel. But anyway, to tell you a little bit about Dugges then, so Dugges' official name, I guess, or the proper name for the company is Dugges Ale och Porter Bryggeri, and like I mentioned to you, these guys are based in Landvetter on the outskirts of Gothenburg in Sweden, but the brewery was established back in 2005 in Mölndal by Mikael Engström Dugge, and since 2010 they focused mainly on the brewing of top fermented beers, and this is probably the quirky thing about this brewery. A lot of their fruit beers tend to be the ones that are very popular, but that said, they do have the Idiot Imperial Stout, which is meant to be a really nice beer too. That's one that I definitely need to review for you guys here on the channel. But due to the renaissance that has been enjoyed in Sweden with craft beer recently, they very quickly outgrew their premises in Mölndal, so they had to move out of the original brewery to a new one in Landvetter, and the older brewery actually had a capacity of only 1,500 hectolitres of beer per year, but this new facility that they have has a capacity of around 8,000 hectolitres of beer per year, at least when they moved into it, although I'm told, and I have heard on the grapevine, that they have expanded that further, so those figures may be inaccurate, but these guys are a very well respected brewery from the Gothenburg area, and Gothenburg of course is a really good beer city these days. So if you're visiting Sweden and you want to get some good beer, head over to Gothenburg and try the likes of Dugges, Stigbergets, Beerbibliotek, all of these guys, Bearded Rabbit as well. There's some really good craft beer coming out of the city these days, and Dugges is a really good place for you to start. And they're doing, if you're interested in fruit beers, I guess then Dugges are the ones that you really do want to try, but they do some interesting collaboration beers and imperial stouts and stuff like that, so generally a very solid brewery. But anyway, as I say, if you want to learn more about those guys, check out the links below. But to tell you a little bit about Wiper and True then, as I said, my very first encounter with these guys. So Wiper and True are based in Bristol in Gloucestershire in England, in the southwestern part of England of course, but the company was founded back in 2012 by Michael Wiper and Alexander True, the latter of whom apparently is a little bit he's a little bit of a recluse actually. From what I gather, he's a bit elusive, but the brewery itself is actually based in St Werburgh to the north of the city, and Michael is actually a home brewer who basically learned to brew using pots and pans. He basically just experimented in his kitchen and really got hooked on it and decided that he wanted to turn professional. So since forming, the company has actually proved to be very popular in the Bristol area. Like I said, they do have a very good reputation, and they've actually just opened a bar called the Old Butcher's Bar in Bristol, which is a collaboration with the Old Bookshop as well, and they have 6 taps, all with different Wiper and True beers. What I don't know about this brewery actually is if they have a kind of regular range of beer. They might be another one like Beerbibliotek, for example, who just brew lots of different things and send them out. There are quite a few breweries who like to do that. I think Kernel in England is another one who often do that, but they've got a very good reputation for themselves. Like I said, I've heard very good things about their beers, so it is really cool to see how one of their collaboration beers turns out. But if you want to learn more about them, like I said, go into the description below and you can check out all the links to their Facebook and their website and all of this sort of thing. So really excited to try my first beer from them, and as we know, Dugges produces some really quite nice stuff. So yeah, let's get on to the tasting of this beer then. So this one, it says, this beer is a collab with our friends from Wiper and True. They wanted to do a Swedish version of their piney amber ale. Together we decided to ramp it up. In every way, take a walk on the pine side. Dugges Bryggeri.sa. So yeah, should be quite nice. Tells you a little bit, doesn't tell you what, it's got lupulus powder in it actually. It's got hop lupulin stuff in it. Wheat malt, fermentation malt, yeah. Quite a few different things in there, but yeah, it should be really nice. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. Let me just find my cursor. There we are. So there you can see kind of the typical Dugges style artwork on this one. It's quite simply done but quite classy. You can see Great Scott on the side there. That's the little blurby bit that I just read out to you before. A little bit about the ingredients and things. Plain bottle cap on this one with just a best before date, the 14th of the 2nd 2018. So yeah, should be really quite nice. So without further ado then, let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting then. Looking forward to this. One thing I should maybe point out about Wiper and True actually is that from what I gather, you can get the same beer from these guys with a different artwork on it, and that I think is one of the quirky things about this brewery. I heard that you will get the same beer. Their artwork is very distinctive because it always tends to have things like space shuttles and I think giraffes and elephants and stuff on it, and I think there's one that has like a hot air balloon or something like that. They are quite quirky with their artwork, but you do get the same beer but with different types of artwork on it, so just be aware of that if you are actually buying things from Wiper and True. That's one thing I always found really confusing with them when I went into the shops and saw their stuff actually. That's one of the reasons why I didn't review their beers actually, because I wasn't sure if that was correct. But this one, as you can see, this beer's poured a really nice kind of bright orangey amber colour. I think it's fair to say that this is probably a blood orange colour. There's a huge head on this guy, a 2.5 finger frothy beigey tan head. You can smell the lovely orangey characters coming out of this one. I think there's definitely some maybe Amarillo or Pacifica or like Mosaic, one of these hops that gives you the nice big orangey notes coming off of this one. There's quite a bit of sediment visible in this one, so I do wonder if Sisja and Balaga have had this sitting for a little while. There is quite a little bit of sediment in there, but it's all natural of course, so it should be quite nice. You can see if I put my fingers behind the glass, there is a degree of transparency to this beer, but it is quite opaque in colour. Like I said, quite a bit of sediment floating around in this one, but it looks like a very, very nice beer. So yeah, let's have a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. Yeah, you know, it does smell quite orangey. There's a sort of tangerine orange note just kind of underpinning this one. But there's some lighter kind of tropical notes in there too. It's almost got a little bit of a peachy, kind of apricot-y thing going on out of this one. You can maybe even lychees and stuff. I do wonder, maybe there's a little bit of citra or something in there. But it's quite malty as well. There's a good bit of caramel malt in there. You can smell some biscuity and sort of bready notes as well. So it's quite interesting. I'm getting a little bit of a scratch on the nose there. But yeah, it's an interesting aroma, this one. We'll check it out later on as we go through this one, because the head of course will mask a fair little bit of it. But it's a really nice smelling beer. Just take a bit of time and enjoy it. But yeah, biscuit, a little bit of bread, some caramel as well in there. Quite orangey, like I say, I think the orange is kind of giving the base to this one. There's a little bit of lighter tropical fruits, some peaches, apricots. Don't know about papayas, maybe something like that, lychees and things. There's a little bit of piney resin, some floral character as well. Yeah, some really interesting stuff coming out of that. So just enjoy the aroma a little bit before you get stuck in. So this one is the Twin Pines collaboration brew between Dugges Bryggeri from Landvetter up near Gothenburg here in Sweden and Wiper and True, who are from Bristol in England. Skål! Oh, that's really interesting. It's got a really kind of unusual I don't know what to make of that actually. That's a really kind of interesting flavour combination. It came in and it was just really fresh, but then you just got pine needles right away. It's almost as if they've added pine needles to the brew, and I think some breweries will do that. Yeah, it's just really interesting. I've never quite come across a beer that has this kind of feel to it before. And this is the thing that you want as a beer reviewer. You always want things to be a little bit quirky, so you have to think about them. So with this one, it's really interesting. It's almost, if you think about what mint does to your palate, when you have a mint, it kind of almost saturates your palate just a little bit, and you can't taste much more on top of that. You know, this beer, as soon as you take the first sip of it, it does the same, but it's a sort of piney resinous character that's coming out of this one. But it's not like the normal kind of pine resins that you'll get from the hops. This one, it just feels different, so I'm guessing maybe they've added some pine resins to the actual brew in this one, because the flavour just comes out completely differently to what you'd expect. It's almost as if you're taking like a mint flavouring, just a little drop of that, almost if you put like a mint syrup on your ice cream, like vanilla ice cream or something, and then you put that into your mouth and it just engulfs your palate. It's kind of like that actually, but it's this wet pine resin character that's coming out of this one. It's a really just unusual feel to this beer, I would say. I've never come across anything quite like this one. Yeah, the sort of pine resiny character that's coming out of this one really is quite unusual. You'll feel it going all the way around the edge of your palate, and it's almost a little bit medicinal, but it's a very difficult thing to describe. It's a very unique flavour that you're getting out of this one, so just be aware of that. This pine resinous character, it's not on the very edge of your tongue as you'd expect. It's just kind of sitting on the inside a little bit, just around the edge. It's not quite on the edge as you would expect from all these big hoppy bitter characters. On the hoppy side of things though, in the back corners of the palate, you will get a little bit of earthiness. As you come further forward, you can feel a little bit of pine resin in there, and there's a bit of a sort of floral spicy character too. And as you go round the front curve of your palate, you'll feel this little lighter sort of grassy note coming out of the beer, which is quite interesting. But like I say, you can just tell from the mouthfeel in this one that they've added something to this brewing. As I say, I suspect it's some pine needles or something like that, just going by from the fact that it's called the Twin Pines. But it's certainly a good beer, but very, very quirky, and that's what I always like, as I said, as a beer reviewer. You do want things that are going to test your palate. There's almost a kind of, not quite minty, but almost a eucalyptusy and kind of resinous character that just lingers over your palate in this beer. So there's in the middle of your palate, you're getting this kind of blanket of a nice kind of pale malty character in this one. You can feel there's a sort of graininess to it as well, and it just gives you a little bit of bitter pardon me, gives you a little bit of bitterness from the malt base, but it does kind of fit in quite well with the sort of wet resins that are coming out of this one, and the piney sort of spicy floral character from the hops too. So it's quite an interesting beer, this one. There are a lot of things going on in it. Yeah, malt base in this one's interesting. There is a bready base to it, some caramel sweetness, and a little bit of lighter biscuit too, and some grainy notes in there. But the fruity side of things is quite interesting. So if you just go behind the front curve of your palate, you'll feel that little oily bubble coming out of this one. I think it's oranges that are kind of underpinning this one. There is a little bit of almost, I'm not sure whether it's the pine resins giving that or whether it's a little bit of darker grapefruit. I think it's more likely to be the pine resins in this one. The oranges, the sort of sweeter, juicy orange that you're getting from this beer is mixing in with the pine resins, and it's quite an interesting combination actually. As the beer progresses on, you do get a little bit more of a kind of tropical flavour at this one. There's a little bit of a light sort of peachy kind of thing to this beer, sort of peachy apricot type thing. You'll feel that as you progress into the aftertaste, but really it's mainly orange, I would say, sort of tangerine thing. As I say, I do wonder if there's maybe some Pacifica or some Amarillo in this one. It actually reminds the orange flavour that's coming out in this one does remind me a little bit of New Zealand's Pacifica, but it's not quite the same as the Mosaic, right enough. It's always Mosaic, Amarillo, and Mandarina Bavaria, of course, is another one. These are the big orange flavoured hops, but this one does remind me a little bit more of Pacifica, actually. But yeah, it's definitely oranges, I think, that are mixing in with this one. And like I said, the sort of piney character that's coming out of this one mixes really interestingly with that orange flavour, but there's a little bit of lighter tropical fruit character comes out a wee bit later on. So just pay attention to that as the beer progresses into the aftertaste, but you'll feel these, as you move further on, these wet piney resins are just lingering there into the aftertaste, and it's really nicely done. This beer is very, very quirky, so when you try this beer, it's definitely for those who love big pine resinous IPAs, there's no doubt about that, but other than that the beer does lean quite towards the malty side of things, and if you like orangey flavours as well, this is another beer that's going to float your boat. But they've done a nice job with this one, I certainly have to praise them for that. It is a very nicely done beer, but very, very quirky, so just be aware of that if you try this one. It's not a kind of straight up double IPA actually, but really nice. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I would say this is mid-bodied. The pine resins do, however, make it feel a little bit lighter than it maybe is. Moderate carbonation to this one, quite an oily mouthfeel. Like I say, the sort of pine resinous character around the edge of your palate does give it that a little bit of a lighter feel. There's a little bit of a hoppy bitterness around the edge of the tongue, but that does smooth out, especially around the front curve of the tongue. And there's a little bit of a kind of fruity, juicy character coming out of this beer too. But overall, like I said, it's a very quirky and quite interesting beer, but it's done very, very well, and I wouldn't expect anything else from Dugges, and this gives me a quite good impression of Wiper and True, so I do need to make sure I try some of their other beers in the near future. So yeah, been really cool to review this one for you. The Twin Pines, another one of the beers that came out in the small partiers recently through Systembolaget over here in Sweden, but another very, very good beer. So if you get the chance to try this one, I do recommend that you have a go of it. I'm quite glad I got to try this because I love orangey flavours in beers, and this one kind of hit the spot for me, and the pine resins of course turned out very, very nicely too. So do make sure you try this one, a really interesting beer. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out all my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Always great to hear from you guys. Let me know your favourite Dugges beers and also your favourite beers from Wiper and True. I do particularly need some recommendations for Wiper and True, but thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Twin Pines, a collaboration brew from Dugges Bryggeri over here in Sweden, and Wiper and True Brewery from Bristol in England. Until the next time, it's Landvetter just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Cheers.